And the job is the thing that supports you. And then the rest of your waking hours are devoted to your purpose, whatever that is. If you need to have a job to support yourself, that's great. That's a noble thing to do. And follow your dreams. But I'm not saying they're one thing.
Yes.
They don't have to be one thing. And
Yeah.
don't let following your dreams undermine your ability to support yourself. It could actually do the opposite. If you decide, I want to be a comedian and I'm putting all my eggs in the comedian basket and I'm going to be a comedian, the pressure of having to support yourself will change you as a comedian, not for the better. You want the stability of being able to take care of yourself in the world, to be free to do whatever your passion is, whatever it is. I think there's a mythology that the people who make things that we love are special people. And that we think that they're, the people on Mount Olympus, and they're these magic people who are geniuses, and then there's the rest of us. And that's not the case. It's like we're all just people. We're all doing our best. We all are good at some things, not good at other things. We're humans. And sometimes we find a way to make something beautiful. And the call came, how do you feel? You have the #1 album in the country. And I remember saying, I've never been more unhappy in my life. And I think we mistakenly think some kind of outward success is going to change something in us, and it does not. It may make life more comfortable, but it doesn't change who we are. And any hole in ourselves that we're hoping to fill does not get filled. And if let's say you spend 20 years of your life working towards a goal that's going to solve everything, and then you finally achieve what you've been trying to do for 20 years, toiling away. I won't have any fun because I'm working for 20 years for this end, and then you get that end and nothing changes. That's when you get hopeless. So it's not uncommon to see very successful artists who are very unhappy in life because they're working towards the thing that's going to make them feel better. And it does not make them feel better. I'm sure you've got to meet many very successful business people, billionaire people. Very few of them are happy. Very few. And they've accomplished their dreams and are unhappy because we don't know what we want. We don't know what's going to make us happy. We're trying to fill something that maybe can't be filled through material or cultural success, public success. It's something else. It's some internal thing. Don't do things just because you think you're going to get something for it. That's not why we do things.
Yeah.
Do what's interesting to you. Follow what's interesting. Don't worry about the outcome.
Yeah.
We don't know. We can't predict the outcome. We can never predict the outcome. Follow your own inner guide. It directs us. It might not make sense. Might not make sense to us. Might not make sense to anyone else. Certainly won't make sense to anyone else. But it might not even make sense to us, and that's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself. Why is it telling you this? There are levels of wisdom that we don't know. We don't understand. So when you have an intuition to take the stairs instead of the elevator, or I always go home this way, but today for some reason I feel like going this other way.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm going to cross the street and walk on that side of the street. Whatever it is, whatever little intuitions in your body that come, listen to them. See what happens. Be open to, there's more going on than we know.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than our conscious mind can pick up going on. The wisest thing we can do is know enough to know we don't know.
Yeah.
If you start from maybe that's true. It could work, who knows?
Yeah.
Not hold anything so firm as this is the way it is.
Yeah.
I know how it is. Anytime you know how it is, your world just got a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Tiny. How do you feel? You have the #1 album in the country. And I remember saying, I've never been more unhappy in my life. Let's say you spend 20 years of your life working towards a goal that's going to solve everything, and nothing changes. that's when you get hopeless.
The best-selling author and host.
The #1 health and wellness podcast.
On Purpose with Jay Shetty.
Who have you created? Like, who are you? Like, at the core of it, how do you see yourself? I think we live in a world today where people create who we are to us in our own minds. Our families and friends create us. The media we consume creates us. And I think everyone will agree that we have so many influences, but who's the you you're trying to create, or have tried to create over the last few decades?
I don't know if trying would be the word I would use. I would say I'm true to whoever's inside there. I don't look at the outside very much. I look inward and try to focus on what do I feel, what am I seeing, in the hopes that by sharing what's going on in me, it maybe resonates with someone else. I can't predict what someone else would like, and I don't think anybody can. So if I'm authentically true to myself, that's the best chance of someone else liking something. So I would say tuning into myself and being honest with myself, and anything I can do to get closer to understanding what I like and why I like it, and what I don't like and why I don't like it, is helpful in the work that I do.
Yeah, I love that idea of almost like a personal check-in or a sense check. And it's interesting, we do it after we eat food. Like, you know whether you liked a restaurant or you didn't like a restaurant, or...
It's automatic with food. It's funny because I've been asked about, like, how can you be so confident in your opinion? It's like, if you taste food, how confident can you be if you like it or you don't like it? It's so clear. It's so face value.
Yeah.
And I think we tend to overthink and put layers on top of something as simple as, it tastes really good, I like it. Or, you know what, this one's not for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's as simple as that.
Absolutely. And why do you think it is, though, that over the years we've all, as humans, from your perspective, your opinion, I'd be fascinated to know, you've worked with so many people who also make things that are fascinating to billions of people on the planet, right? We all experience what it feels like to get 5-10 people to laugh at a joke or listen to something we do, but when you're creating at that scale, what in your opinion has made us so addicted to wanting to become someone that people like and often go against who we truly are? You just said you like to sense that authenticity and feel how you feel. A lot of people are scared of that. A lot of people would rather mold and become malleable and evolve and become who people want them to be. Why do you think that is?
People like to be accepted. People want to be accepted. And I'm suggesting in the book that the best way to be accepted is to be yourself. It's not to change yourself to what someone else thinks. First of all, you don't really know what someone else thinks. And if you're not genuine to yourself, there's like nothing is there. It's just a projection or a mask. It's not true. And there's something about authenticity. Like, I get to work with artists, some of whom have very different ways of seeing the world than me. And I support their vision 1,000,000%, even though whatever they're talking about I may be diametrically opposed to what they're talking about. But I support them 1,000,000%, and anything I can do to support them getting their message across the clearest they can, I support that. The only way we can learn anything is through the reality of seeing what's around us and learning there are these different points of view around us. If we're all thinking the same thing, it's boring. Why would we make anything if everyone thinks the same thing? What makes us interesting are the differences. And even the imperfections. The imperfections are what makes us humans, what makes us what we are. It's like there's so much talk today about ChatGPT and AI. It's like, it's a different thing than a human sharing their own experience, warts and all. That's what we love. We love. You know, you may hear a song about someone who has terrible heartbreak, and you may not be experiencing terrible heartbreak, but hearing them honestly talk about a human experience, even one that we're not having, can make us cry, can make us resonate with them, can give us a better understanding of the world.
Absolutely.
And we're not all everything, you know, we're all only us. each of us is ourselves.
Yeah, one thing when I was reading your book, it reminded me of something else I read a while ago, and what I read said that the Japanese say we have three faces. One face that we show the entire world. The second face is the face that we only show our family and friends. And the third face, they say, we show no one at all. Maybe not even ourselves sometimes. We don't even... But what you're saying is almost like when we tap into that essence and become that self, that's where all this beauty and imagination and creativity stems from.
Yeah, it's seems to be the most interesting and the most particular. You know, in a sea of information, the more yours is personal, the more it's not like hers or his or theirs. It's yours.
Yeah.
And for all of us, we get more of a sense of reality. Even if our views are different than everyone else's, it still helps us understand this is this place that we're in where there are these different views. It's interesting. When I speak to someone who has a different view on anything, I always want to learn how did you get there? What can I learn from you? You know, I never assume that I know anything.
Were you always like that, or were there experiences in your childhood that informed that? Because I feel like there are a lot of people, more generally speaking, and I don't like to stereotype, but just as an overall sense, a lot of the reasons why we struggle with doing what you just said is defending our viewpoint gives us a sense of safety and security, and we feel vulnerable if someone else's viewpoint that seems opposite to ours could be true. So that's one reason. The second is we generally struggle as humans to entertain two opposing ideas. We struggle to understand the nuance that someone can be kind but also be assertive, or someone can be complex yet really compassionate. Like, there can be these paradoxes that exist. I was reading recently about how black and white TVs are not really black and white. They're shades of gray. There is no black and white pixel. It's really, really minute shades of gray that are changing. So were you always that way, always that curious? Did that start somewhere? Does that come from parents? Where did that come for you? I'm intrigued.
I would say I've always been open-minded. Early in my career, I probably had more of a view of I know how to do it. Like, I know my way. And my way was fine. But over the years, I've realized that my way isn't necessarily the best way. It's just one way. And there are many other ways that are great. I was a vegan for 22 years, and now I'm mainly carnivore. When you've really committed to a vegan lifestyle, it's very difficult to break out of it. And for about a year, I believed that eating meat was the healthiest thing I could do, but I couldn't do it because I was a vegan. I was committed to being a vegan. So it's a perfect example because it was something I was dedicated to for a long period of time. I had new information. It was hard to change. It was hard to break out of it. But as we get new information, we have to evolve. How can we live in an old belief? If you believe the same thing that you believed 20 years ago about everything, I don't know that you're living.
And so we've got to have that openness and the ability to
Curiosity about what's it like if my view of the world is wrong. What does someone else know? What can I learn from? Not to disregard what someone else thinks. Why do they think that? I know there's something I can learn from someone who sees it differently than me, and I want to understand it.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I asked you about your past, because I feel that I always try and study someone's past in order to understand how they came to a conclusion, because, or even their behaviors. Often the people that I feel act in ways that seem unreasonable or ways that I don't agree with. When I track back and look at their past, I can often be like, oh, there are the dots, and they can probably see them too, of why they've chosen that path. Not that that path is right or wrong. It takes a lot to go beyond right and wrong, because these constructs are so, and that's what I feel this book does. This book in itself breaks the construct of what a book is, right? Like that, when I picked it up, I was assuming that I was going to read a memoir or like stories and tales. I assumed that's what it would be in my belief system of what a book is by a prominent figure who's had a life such as yours. And then I opened it up and I was like, wait a minute, This is not what I was expecting. And I'm seeing like poetry, and I'm seeing like rhymes, and I'm seeing just short reflections and some really beautiful even exercises and activities that you suggest. And I thought even in this book, you're breaking down what someone sees as a book. I mean, the cover does that. It's stunning. And it's like, that's something I would love to help people develop, because I think it's a skill, it's a habit. And you talk about habits in the book, and we're only as creative as the habits we keep, you say. How do we develop that mindset? Is there a step-by-step system, or is it something that you just start tomorrow and you now are more curious when something conflicting comes your way?
It's something you get better at the more you practice. And meditation is a great tool to quiet ourselves enough to get in touch with how we see the world. The closer we can get to what we see, that's a starting position to be able to then understand how someone else sees it. And it's interesting to be able to learn to argue the points opposite what you believe. You know, if you don't understand all sides of the story, you don't really understand the story. So it's helpful to understand the whole picture and hold all of the beliefs softly enough to be surprised and learn something new and change everything.
You know, the book is all of the creative, and it is about being creative, doing things that are creative. But have you ever sacrificed creativity for anything, on any project, or on any personal endeavor in life, where creativity had to be sacrificed, or you felt pushed to sacrifice, or where you felt it was being, where there was a bit of a part of you that was like, I might have to let go?
In the world of art, I feel fearless. I feel like whatever strikes me as this is what's interesting to me, I'm good with that. It doesn't extend as strongly into life. I know people who are completely fearless in life. I'm not there yet. It's very impressive. I love it. But within the confines of creativity and making things, I know, and only I know it through experience. I started only making things I liked. Luckily, people liked them. Otherwise, I'd have a different job. I would still be making things because it was always my passion. I never thought it would be my work. I always knew I would make things because that's what I love to do. I thought I would have a regular, straight job to support my habit of making things. And then miraculously, the universe allowed me to make things as a full-time thing in life. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing how we always talk about how like life imitates art, or art imitates life, and why has it been harder to translate from art to life that idea of fearlessness? What are the things that you find yourself fearing in life that you find so effortless here?
There's a life and death commitment in art that's different than the life and death commitment in life. Jumping out of an airplane is different than, telling a controversial joke. I can remember recently, 4 or 5 years ago, I had open heart surgery, and I was really afraid. And I was with an artist friend who's a fearless artist, and I told him, yeah, I'm going into the surgery, I'm really nervous. He's like, oh, you're gonna be fine. I go, why are you even thinking about that? Like, that's a crazy thought, because he's confident, he's fearless in life. Still, the normal fears of life get me. But in art, I know the real power in it is going to the fringe edges of where you can go. That's what the purpose of doing it is, to see how far you can take it. So I feel, in a way, obligated to do that, because I know that's what's most interesting to me. There's so much middle of the road, and it doesn't interest me. I want it because it's louder, quieter, softer, harder. It's pushing some boundary. That's why I take notice. It's not more of the same. It's not just a